Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, July 4, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let us take a look at the rainfall forecast for the entire month of July by the climate forecast system. Considering that we just closed out the month of June, we can see Jamaica embedded in some amount of whites and some slight yellow shades. And if we take a look at the key, we know that the yellows represent some below average rainfall, the whites represent average rainfall, and the greens to blues and purples represent above normal rainfall. And we see for the most part Jamaica is embedded in some whites and yellow shades that represent average rainfall to some slightly below average rainfall. But do we have consensus on the CANSIPS model? The CANSIPS is showing more whites across Jamaica that indicate average rainfall for the month of July. What about the NMME model? We see something similar to what the first model was showing, that's the CFS. We see some slight yellows and some whites that represent some average to slightly below average rainfall. So we'll see exactly what unfolds in terms of these three major global models. As it relates to what the CARICOF is showing, that's the Caribbean Climate Outlook Forum, we can see Jamaica embedded in some dark shades of blues. And if we take a look at the key at the bottom, that represents some way above average rainfall. But this is valid not only for the month of July, but August and September 2023. So we'll see exactly what unfolds with that. We know that an El Nino is being forecasted, and we still have a lot of above average sea surface temperatures across the Atlantic. So we have some clashing taking place. So we'll see exactly how that unfolds. Will the Atlantic win with more rainfall and more storms, or will the El Nino take over and prohibit all of this? It's just a waiting game at this point. Let us take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center, the United States Climate Prediction Center, is predicting for the next 3 weeks. So by week 2, which is valid for July 12 to 18, we can see that they're forecasting that around the Central Caribbean, including Jamaica, we should be receiving some brown shades. If we take a look at the key at the bottom, that represents some below average rainfall. So maybe it's seeing what the CANSIPS, not the CANSIPS, the CFS and the NMME models are seeing. So we'll see how that goes. Either way, we see some greens that represent some slightly above our average rainfall across the main development region right there, stretching from Africa like a tongue all the way over to the east of the Caribbean. So who knows, we might have more tropical waves coming in from that direction, and we see something similar for the week of the 19th to the 25th. As it relates to what the Euro model and the GFS models are showing for the next 10 days, the next 240 hours, this is valid for all the way out until 7 a.m. on Friday, July 14. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are showing a lot of rainfall, even up to, let's say, 6 or more inches of rainfall for majority of Central America, Northern South America. We see some blues and some slight purples across portions of the Caribbean and sections of Jamaica, even some slight purples especially across eastern Jamaica. And we see some slight consensus with what the GFS model is showing. We know that when both models are showing somewhat similar predictions, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. More than likely we're going to be getting all of this rainfall from these tropical waves that are coming. Hopefully it puts some kind of dent in the hydrological drought that we're currently experiencing. As it relates to what the United States National Hurricane Center is predicting, they're stating at this time that there's no tropical cyclones expected for the next 7 days. So we're right on track. Nothing is happening. It's the month of July. We're actually in our secondary dry season in Jamaica right now. We know our first dry season is about from December to April, so now we're experiencing the secondary dry season, that's July to August. And even though it's still the hurricane season, we know that we can still get some amount of tropical waves, something similar to what's coming, because if we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that there's a tropical wave right there across portion of the Central Caribbean. It's this tropical wave that we just saw on the infrared satellite images right here. The rainbow loop showing a lot of deep convection across sections of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, getting a lot of showers and thunderstorms at this time. Even spilling into section of the ABC Islands, northern South America, and majority of this has made its way westward, so majority of the eastern Caribbean not experiencing anything at all. But this tropical should continue moving westward to affect portions of Haiti, Cuba, and Jamaica on Wednesday. We can also see another tropical wave right there across the main development region, and we can see the clouds associated with that across the visible satellite images. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's post on our Twitter page about the rainfall across Jamaica for today. It was stated in our post that we would have received some rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica on Tuesday, especially during the afternoon. And with that upper level wind shear coming in from the north, it would make sense that sections of mostly southern parishes would get in on that rainfall. And what ended up happening, as early as 3 or 1 p.m., we had some clouds building across sections of some southern parishes, and it stated that we had some amount of overcast skies and some isolated thunderstorms across sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth, and we saw that on the visible satellite images right there. And we did indeed have confirmation of this rainfall from some of our commenters on our Twitter page. Chrisan stating, we're getting little scattered here, there, dark clouds in Manchester. It's like the rain want to fall but no make up your mind. K stating the thunder is thundering, the rain ease up, but the lightning and thunder ain't it. Simone stating downtown Kingston just I get some serious droplets. Keeping over to another commenter, Johnny stating rain is falling at Meadowbrook, Lamont Rakes, Portland is on fire. Unfortunately, Portland is on the north side, so they won't be getting much rain. Edgar stating full rain. Dwayne posting a picture of it raining right there in East Kingston while it was sunning at the same time. And Cripsy Cream Glazed Donut stating the rain just came down in my side of Kingston, with Fest Genius stating it a talk right now. Even on our Instagram page, we had commenters confirming the rainfall. Little bit of Indian stating, never expect no rain, but me happy. Tony stating rain in Portmore. No. Zipping over to some more comments. Portmore Bell stating, Greater Portmore only getting the loud thunder, no rain, nothing dry like chips. Then, Designers Pride stating thunder and lightning in St. Catherine. Skipping over to Men Robinson Law, hearing thunder over in Portmore, no rain. Mrs. Taken 21, St. Catherine, yeah, talk must de back a god. But I'm sure that you got it before the day ended. That was 2 hours ago though. As it relates to another post that was made recently at 5:55 p.m. in the early evening, just an hour ago, it was showing more clouds bringing overcast sky showers and thunderstorms to sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica. And we know those sparkling white dots represent some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. And we saw that definitely across sections of St. Elizabeth at first, then it spilled into sections of Manchester, Clarendon, then it started to get even heavier across sections of St. Catherine, Portmore, Spanish Town, Old Harbour definitely got in on some of that. Even sections of Kingston and St. Andrew got in on some of that as well. And we have confirmation recently from Ricardo stating heavy shower of rain came down in New Kingston for 15 minutes. Fest Genius, Taguan bad over Spanish Town with very strong thunderstorms and heavy showers. And then, even on our Instagram page to confirm this, Nicola, Greater Portmore, getting thunderstorms. Rain in Portmore by Tony. Emily 106 Thomas stating, Ray, me feel to take a drive in every pothole right. We're full of rainwater. You told the rain I go and bad in Spain. Me happy bad. I threw me can't bad in my uniform, cause me don't want them catch me on video and fire me. Sean Capri stating rain in St. Andrew, Tony rain in Portmore. So definitely getting the rain in most southern parishes, especially with that northerly wind shear pushing all of those clouds towards the south. And we even got some of that action on our live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel on YouTube, See Jamaica. They show live streams of Kingston and St. Andrew, mainly downtown Kingston, in terms of Crossroad, Halfway Tree, and the harbor, Kingston Harbor right there. And if we actually take a look at the Kingston Harbor, at the Halfway Tree cam at about 5:46 p.m., we can see that yes, we had a wet ground. All the cars with their windshield wipers on, people walking with umbrella running across the street. Definitely got in on some amount of showers right there in Halfway Tree at that time. And even in Crossroad at the same time, 5:48 p.m., we see much of the same. So definitely some rainfall across sections of Kingston. And if you'd like to see some more live streams, you can go to their YouTube channel, that's See Jamaica, for similar activity. Keep in mind that they're going to be, widening their live stream to, incorporate more eras, maybe get into sections of Montego Bay or Negril, who knows. It's just a waiting game at this point. Alright, so let's just take a look at the visible satellite images of the day. So we can see that yes, we had a buildup of clouds, especially across southern parishes in Jamaica, that brought some amount of overcast sky showers and thunderstorms to sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew. And even before the sun went down, we had that deep convection right there across sections of St. Catherine and Clarendon. And we can see that better on the current infrared satellite images. Let's reload these images to see what's happening right now. Alright, so we can see that the latest images are still showing some deep convection right there across sections of southern St. Elizabeth, southern Manchester, sections of even central Manchester getting in on some deep convection at this time. Clarendon, St. Catherine, Western, Kingston, and St. Andrew right there. So they're definitely getting in on some heavy convection right now. Not much across sections of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, or St. Thomas. We know the drill. Usually when northern parishes are getting rainfall, southern parishes aren't getting rainfall. And when southern parishes are getting rainfall, northern parishes aren't getting rainfall. It's always a flip-flop. So today is the south side turn. And considering that we're going to be getting a tropical wave tomorrow, we might see majority of the island getting in on some rainfall, especially the eastern side as seen on the precipitation forecast maps. Alright, so let us take a look at the temperatures right now. We can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston. And as usual, as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower, especially in those areas where we got that rainfall across the south. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see some differences with the forecasted temperatures. On the GFS model, we see some slight blues and some whites that represent some average to slightly below average temperatures for 18th on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. The Euro, showing the same time, shows some yellows that represent some above normal temperatures with some slightly, well, that looks like some average temperatures right there. Either way, especially with the tropical wave coming in, it would make sense to believe what the GFS is showing, average to some slightly below average temperatures, especially with the cloud cover and the rainfall that's expected from this tropical wave. We know that the average temperatures for the month of July is about 91 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's about the equivalent of 32.5 degrees Celsius. And considering that we're going to be receiving average temperatures, or maybe slightly above according to the Euro if it happens, or slightly below, let's say we're going to be receiving anywhere from 31.5 to 33.5 at most across the island for tomorrow. Taking a look at the dry air map now, most people are getting this map confused, thinking that it's mainly focusing on the Saharan dust. It's actually showing more in the way of dry air, because we usually see a lot of reds and so on, and we see that across the Gulf of Mexico or the Eastern Pacific, but we don't. We know for a fact that the Saharan dust is not over those spots. It's definitely some dry air that we're seeing, and the dry air is represented by the key at the bottom. The yellows represent the least amount of dry air, and the more orange and red it gets, the more dry air is expected. So we see the dry air right there across portion of the main development region and off the coast of Africa. Some slight dry air right there to the south of Jamaica. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast now, we definitely have some amount of Saharan dust across sections of the Caribbean for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, but it's not that robust, and we're actually grateful for this. You know, in recent years we've had some major robust Saharan dust blasts across the Caribbean region, but we don't see that these days, and we're grateful for that. And we know that when we're going to see that, we're going to be having some very darker shades of browns coming off of the coast of Africa and making the way westward. There have been some amount of Saharan dust, but by the time majority of it gets to the Caribbean, it is not that robust. We're not even seeing it. Some persons' asthma or sinusitis might be triggered, but it's not that widespread or anything like that, and we're indeed grateful for that. And especially with the tropical wave coming across sections of Jamaica for tomorrow, we won't be seeing much in the way of Saharan dust or hazy skies or anything like that. However, as it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see some purples right there off to the south and east of Jamaica. They represent 2 meter wave heights or more, with majority of the west coast of Jamaica experiencing less than 2 meter wave heights, as indicated by those blue shades. And that's due to the fact that we're going to be receiving some strong winds coming in from the east. We see a lot of yellows in there that represent up to 25 knot winds as well, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls. And majority of these winds seem to be coming in from the east southeast. So with all of those clouds coming in from the east, definitely St. Thomas, Portland, Kingston, St. Catherine might get in on some of that rainfall coming in from the sea associated with that tropical wave. And then in the afternoon hours, we might have that buildup of clouds, that diurnal convection across sections of some central and western parishes, especially with that east-southeasterly flow might get in on most of that across sections of some northwestern parishes. So maybe Hanover, St. James. We shall see how that unfolds. As it relates to the wind shear map, we still have that wind shear coming in from the north, so it might favor more rainfall across sections of some southern parishes. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, we can see the blues that represent rainfall on both the Euro and the GFS. Where is that? Cross sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica. That's St. Thomas, Portland, right there. What time is this? This is 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is actually 4 p.m. Jamaica time. So we see some definite rainfall in the forecast, skipping ahead to about 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time. Look at the GFS malls, even showing some greens in there that represent some heavy rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland. Euro showing something similar, but it's spilling more of the rainfall into sections of some central parishes, the coastal areas of some central parishes. We don't see much consensus there, but we do see it slightly on the south coast, not much on the north coast. So maybe spilling into sections of Clarendon, St. Catherine, as that tropical wave moves west across the island. Skipping ahead to about 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 11 a.m. Jamaica time, we see more of the blues making its way across sections of Jamaica on both maps, eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica, definitely. Then finally, in the afternoon at about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is 2 p.m. Jamaica time, we still see a dot of blue right there across sections of St. Thomas and Portland on both the maps. And we see some more blues across sections of western and northern Jamaica, the same spots that we just mentioned on the wind forecast. So sections of Hanover, St. James, maybe sections of Trelawney and Westmoreland might get on some of that. That's on the GFS map. We do see consensus with what the Euro is showing in terms of those blues across those spots mentioned, but we do see more rainfall, more blues across sections of some central parishes. We'll see exactly how that unfolds. We know that we're supposed to always, look at where we see the similarities, the consensus, the agreement for what's exactly going to take place. So we'll see exactly how this unfolds for tomorrow. We know definitely eastern Jamaica is going to be getting in on some of that rainfall for sure. So ensure that you have your rain gear, umbrella, raincoat if you must go out tomorrow. If we actually take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast, it makes sense that the most rainfall totals, as indicated by those reds, are across sections of eastern and southern parishes in Jamaica, considering that the rainfall is going to be across those areas for majority of the day, especially eastern Jamaica. So we see the most rainfall up to at least 0.59 or 69 of an inch right there across sections of St. Thomas and the Euromall. GFS a bit more robust, up to 0.86 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, it might be higher in some spots, it might be lower in some spots. It's all about the sections of these parishes. So we'll see exactly how it unfolds, but we know that there's definitely some rainfall coming in for Jamaica for tomorrow. And we're indeed grateful for that rainfall that we're going to be receiving. We're now in July, we're now in the dry season. We usually receive less rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put a dent in the hydrological drought that we're experiencing. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see a lot of clouds coming into sections of French Guiana, Suriname, sections of Venezuela, sections of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico associated with that tropical wave, sections of Honduras, Nicaragua, Belize, Guatemala, sections of Mexico getting in on some amount of overcast sky showers and thunderstorms right now. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can see all of that rainfall associated with that tropical wave right there off to the south and west of Puerto Rico. And if we actually take a look at the Doppler radar images from about 1:30 p.m. today, we can see where we had indeed had some of that rainfall across sections of Puerto Rico coming in across the island from an east-southeasterly in an east-southeasterly fashion. So they definitely got in on some amount of rainfall, especially southern Puerto Rico. Right there, we even had an outage of the radar. Who knows, maybe it might have been lightning. And we see much more rainfall right there coming into sections of the Dominican Republic, especially for tonight. So it's definitely going to be stormy out there. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we see some passing scattered showers, not much in the way of some heavy rainfall, just some hit or miss showers. Might have seen some rainfall across sections of Martinique today as well. And we see some rainfall right there passing to the south of St. Vincent. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall right there across sections of the waters to the north of the ABC Islands. Rainfall right there across sections of Venezuela. And we can also see the rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras as well. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we see some differences with what both malls are showing for July 5 at 1 p.m. We see below average temperatures across the eastern to the central Caribbean on the GFS mall, while the Euro mall is showing way above average temperatures across Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands, and all of those spots that the GFS was showing to receive more rainfall. So there's definitely some contrast. We'll see exactly how that unfolds. You know that when they are disagreeing like this, we have to see what actually happens for ourselves, which model is going to be winning in terms of what the temperatures will be like. Either way, we see slightly above normal temperatures anywhere from Northern South America, Central America, and the US. Finally, they're not receiving that tremendous heat wave anymore with all of those red shades at all. Taking a look at the siren dust forecast, as we mentioned earlier, we still have that slight hazy weather, not that robust, across majority of the Caribbean for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and we hope it stays that way. We hope that it doesn't get darker in terms of the intensity from Africa. Taking a look at the wave forecast, we can see that that tropical wave is definitely going to be contributing to some high wave heights across the Central Caribbean, leading into sections of Jamaica for tomorrow. We can also see some of that across sections of the waters to the east of the Caribbean, and that's due to the fact that the strongest winds will be coming in from the east, averaging up to 25 knots in those yellow shades. So especially the waters to the south of Hispaniola, Jamaica, sections of the waters to the east of the Caribbean, definitely, while everywhere else in the green should be receiving up to 20 knot winds. As relates to the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can see that majority of the Eastern Caribbean should be getting a break, especially considering that they've been affected by that tropical wave, which has now moved westward. So these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we see that rainfall, especially across sections of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola. If they're not already receiving that rainfall right now, they're going to be receiving that rainfall up to 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we see more rainfall coming in for sections of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, sections of the Bahamas, sections of Florida. We can see some rainfall also coming in for sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, sections of Colombia, Venezuela as well. Even sections of Eastern Trinidad might get in on some of that, according to the GFS model. It is a bit more robust, showing more in the way of rainfall for majority of Trinidad. And we know that when both models are showing something similar like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.